So I didn't get a video out last Friday, and I'm running late trying to get one out this Monday because this weekend I insulated. But that's not the story of this video. I'm trying to run these things in order, and so actually the next thing that happens sequentially from the last thing I published is installing my, roof fans. I have one there, and I have one there. And so I actually want to show you that video first, and also talk about installing my subfloor. So that's the video you're going to watch today. Just a reminder, I'm playing catch up. I filmed everything I was doing, but keeping up with editing it and publishing it just didn't happen. So I'm playing a little bit of catch up. You will get a video about the installation, but just know, well, if you're on Patreon or YouTube memberships, you already know installation got done this weekend. Da-na. All right, back in time to roof vents. I am tired, but I just pulled into Home Depot. By the way, good morning, YouTube. To get something that hopefully is going to be kind of a game changer for the box truck, for the box van. I'll just commit to the word box truck. I'm just trying to still legitimize myself as Vanlife, but I still consider this Vanlife. It's just Vanlife in a little bit of a different vehicle. But anyway, I just arrived at the Home Depot to pick up a ship-to-store item. This item is also sold on eBay. Honestly, there was a couple reasons I decided to ship it to Home Depot. One, anytime I can do a ship-to-store pickup, I prefer that. Mostly because, one, I don't want to overwhelm my mailbox place with too many big packages. And right now, while the build is going on, there are big things I need to order. I do use my friend's apartment sometimes, but I don't want to be leaning on that all the time. I want to make it a once in a while. I really have no choice. This was the best way to get this thing. This thing that I'm about to pick up is overpriced sometimes. It's definitely not worth the price that some people are selling it for on eBay, but for my application it is the best choice because it's one of those things that for now I can use it to help me in the way that I want it to help me in the long term until I have its long-term space set up in the box truck, and it's going to help me with power. Alright, so just got back in the van, and there it is. It is the Baja 900 watt generator. It's 900 starting watts, but it's really 700 watt running watts. It used to be, it looks like it's the same generator. Mickey's checking out our new box. He checks out every new box. But it's the same generator that used to be produced by Ryobi. For some reason, Ryobi stopped selling them. I don't know what the reason was, but it seems like, according to my research, this is the exact same generator. Now, what's special about this generator is it can run off the 1 pound propane bottles. Maybe this is why it's so overpriced, because I could see this appealing to a lot of people in van life. I don't plan to run anything directly off of the generator. The point of this is when I am lacking a sun charge, I'll boost my Jackery batteries with this. So when I recorded this, I had no idea that I would end up doing a video in the future about my reasons for choosing the Baja propane generator. So I think we can skip that, and I can stick a card in the corner, and we can jump to me unboxing the Baja. Alright, so this is the Baja generator that I got today, and I have something else I bought a while ago, which is this thing, and this is the Noco Mickey. And this is the Noco, basically it's an easy shortcut way to create, here I go losing my screws, power outside the vehicle. So basically, I would attach this out to the side of the vehicle, tap it with 3 screws real quick, and then I can just open this up, and I would be able to plug into a house supply. obviously, I'm not exposed to a house a lot, but if I have my propane generator right here, I can use that. So I have my white extension cord right here. I just plug that into the vehicle, because this will be attached in the vehicle. I just have to punch another hole in my vehicle, and this will plug into the Baja. Once I had my propane generator out of the box, it was time to plan putting in my roof vents. So even though I did demo, there's a couple of things I need to remove. Like this, I don't know what it used to hold, but it's basically holding nothing. So I need to pull that out just so I have this whole rib to use for putting in ceiling later. And then this light in the center, there's no switch for it, and it doesn't work. So I'm just going to pull that out and possibly track and get rid of this cable. So that's two things I need to do to the ceiling. I haven't really removed this because I do like that it gives me a little extra bridge of stability right now, especially when I'm up on the roof. So I may take it out after I put in the roof vents. Once there's an actual ceiling on here and there's like some sort of bracing between these metal ribs, I'll feel more confident about the roof. I'm probably being overly cautious. But anyway, right here, not right there because that's the curve, right here is where I am going to put one of my roof vents. That first rib is where I'm going to put a false wall. And there's Mickey just grooming himself. But that first rib, I don't know if that's the right thing to call them, that first strip that you see, that's where I want to put my inner false wall. That foot of space or so back there will be for a bunch of things, including the beginning of my porch. The rest of my porch will be the lift gate when it's bent down. When this door is open and it's bent down, the lift gate will basically continue the porch for camping situations, obviously not in the city. As you can see, I have cables coming in right there, and right here, center-ish in this second zone is where I'm going to put my other roof vent. Now, my roof vents are not identical. They're non-identical roof vents. But there's a reason for that. I will talk more about that when we get to the storage unit. I also have to move storage units today. The couple who runs the storage place, they noticed that I was like working, on my vehicle a lot, and that the vehicle takes up a lot of space and even more space when I'm spread out and I've pulled out tools. So I need to move today in addition to setting up the generator so that I can charge my Jackeries up to 100%. And yeah, there's just stuff I need to do today. But I need to pick up this. Oh, and I have one more thing I need to pick up from an Amazon locker. People seem to be confused about Amazon locker. So with Amazon locker, you can order stuff and send it to a locker. You cannot use it as a default mailing location. So for the wish list, I couldn't send stuff to the locker. On top of that, there is a size restriction. Lockers are usually in like supermarkets and small places like that. So it's not really good for big items, things that are in big, large boxes. But even still, like, I would have to personally order the item. I would have to personally assign a locker to pick it up at. And I would have to personally then go to the locker and get it. All right, I got it. What I love about Amazon pickup locations sometimes is that they have recycling right on site. So a lot of times I'll unpack the package just so I don't have to deal with all that trash later. Like, one of the most pain in the butt things actually can be getting rid of trash when it's at a high volume. And right now, because I'm building, I'm ordering things come in boxes, they have styrofoam, like all of this. it does make it hard to get rid of like huge bulks of trash. Like in my normal everyday living, I just have these small bags of trash, so it's not really that big of a deal. It never really builds up to a lot. Like even after I build this out, I still want to have small trash cans just because it prompts you to get rid of your trash sooner. Now, when you go out camping and you're gone for weeks at a time and you're like out in the middle of nowhere, yeah, there's going to be a little bit more of a trash buildup, but usually there's dumpsters you can find not too far from those type of situations. You just have to look for them, like dumpsters where they expect you to dump because they don't want garbage, hanging out on the land or the campsites or whatever. So it's like you just have to do a little bit more looking around for a place where you can maybe toss like your trash bag. But even then, the amount of trash I'm building up quickly right now while I'm trying to do build projects is like quadruple even that situation, especially when you account for boxes. So being able to just leave the box, there after I pick it up, just pick it up, take it out of the box, and just take the item and leave the box. Especially, y'all know how Amazon this was in a box that was about 3 times the size. But basically what this is it's a window cover made for RVs that have the same cab that I do. So it'll cover all 3 of my front windows. It'll black them out, but it's not, it looks like an RV cover. Like it's silver on one side, black on the other side, and in most of the photos, the silver was facing out. Now the reason why I want this is sometimes when I have to leave, the other day, I was helping my friend out. I was helping her move a large item from her patio out front because she was selling it, and she didn't want the person to have to come through her apartment. And I left Mickey in the truck. Whenever I have to leave Mickey in the truck in that kind of situation, now that we have the window, I don't mind leaving him in the truck because we have the open window up top plus these windows. But I always feel like somebody's going to look through the front, and it's never happened. I've never gotten a notice about it. I've never had the cops talk to me about it. Like, it's never happened. But I'm always afraid of somebody seeing that there's a cat in here and then thinking they need to do a rescue move. If the windows are covered, all 3, and he still has that top window that's now in the box where he can see out, he can get fresh air, etc., etc., and eventually there'll be more windows plus roof vents, I don't mind him being in the box. Well, I shut him in the box just for safety because I didn't want anybody to see him crawling around in the cab. Besides, he didn't like it, and he was hidden in the corner by the time I came back. So I like him having access to the cab, but I don't want nosy people looking in. And I think he likes being in the cab because even if he's under a seat, which he commonly is, as soon as I turn the door key, he knows I'm back. And so he'll pop out to see me. But I'd rather be on the side of safe rather than sorry. So being able to cover up my windows, first of all, the less you can see inside, the better. Second of all, the less people can see him. If I have to leave the box for a while, the better. One of the reasons I want to build out the box truck is I want something that's more like a tiny house for him and for me. But I want to be able to leave him at home sometimes. I was never comfortable doing that in the van. Like almost always if I left the van, like he left with me. And one of the reasons for having the fans and eventually getting my new heating in here and having roof vents and going through all this is that it's a comfortable space for him to be in if I need to leave it for an extended amount of time. But I didn't realize how much he would like just being up in the cab area. So I want to make sure if he is up there and I need to be away for a little bit, there aren't any nosy looky-loos kind of looking in my box truck and deciding like they need to rescue a cat. So my new storage unit is right there, and my truck is parked right here. Now there is a parking space right here because this place rents U-Hauls too. But if I need to like have a gap of space to work on the truck, this is going to be a much better spot. So another awesome hookup by the folks that own the place here. And so before I could start roof vents or install that Noco shore power outlet, I guess that's what you call it, I had to move stuff from one storage unit to the other. And so that took up a bit of time, but I knew I couldn't start my roof project until it was done. And honestly, maybe I was avoiding getting on the roof. The first project I attacked was putting in my shore power outlet. Is that the right thing to call it? I mean, basically it's just a fancy extension cord that's just kind of attached to your vehicle. After filing down the hole and painting around the edges, I then screwed it in. And I finished things off with a bit of sealant and a little cleanup I did with the tip of my fingers and a popsicle stick. Didn't turn out too bad. I then proceeded to set the generator up for the first time. Once I was plugged in, it was time to deal with roof vents. Alright, so first of all, I really shouldn't have on this shirt because I love this shirt. And my first tip, hopefully the generator isn't too loud out there, is if you're building, wear clothes you do not care about because they could possibly get destroyed or get something on them that you'll have a hard time getting out, especially if you're living in a van, because you can't like spend hours in your personal laundry room scrubbing at them. So first mistake is that I'm wearing my Avatar shirt. Second mistake, if you haven't watched Avatar, you should watch it. But anyway, I kind of want to get roof vents out the way today. After watching a lot of videos on people installing roof vents, I decided I was going to go ahead and try to do those myself. Windows, I really want to have a buddy, but I think I can do the roof vent by myself since it's mostly cutting a hole downwards, and I've watched lots of people do it pretty much on their own. Ideally, in any situation, it's better to have more people, but this is how it goes for me. I reach out to some people, I see if they have availability. Based on their availability and who it is, I might try to adjust doing something around the fact that they're available. I.e., when I had Ashley, I was like, okay, let's do a window instead of doing a roof vent. If I got to a roof vent as well, that would have been cool, but I didn't. And I keep saying A because there are multiple roof vents. There's this guy. This one I bought on my own, and this one is the Maxxair Mini Plus. It's a exhaust fan only. And this fan is the one that I'm going to put over my kitchen. So this is the mini. This is going over the kitchen area, so it would be at the most rear vent location for the box truck. This one is pretty simple. I do like it because of the low profile, and I did want two fans, but over the kitchen I realized I could save some money and just get an exhaust fan. My biggest priority was low profile and weather protection while still being able to use the roof vent. It would have been nice to get two that could do both exhaust and in and out, and not just out. This one just does exhaust, and that's going to be fine for the kitchen. Also, because I'm going to have windows, I'm going to have all other kinds of way to ventilate, and I still have my Camfro fan, which I can sit near a window and also add to the airflow. So I'm not too worried about this one only being an exhaust fan. It'll do the job, especially over the kitchen area. It's low profile. This does not raise. This is basically just a plastic cap. It does come without a fan at all, but this does have a fan. So this is your inner rim. As you can see, there's nothing on the bottom. It's really just a rim, and you could actually end up not using this at all if your roof is thin. I don't have any of my insulation material on the inside, so I'm not even going to bother with this today. And then you have this fan. It's basically a little manual lever that allows you to close and open this area. And then there's a button that's basically fan only, light only. Yes, this has a light, and fan and light. And I think fan and light, the fan is high, or fan only fan is high. I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. It's just a simple, super simple exhaust fan with a very low profile. It's not a very popular fan. I got this one off of eTrailer, and it was the only place I found it in black. I found it in white on eBay. But since the other fan that was bought for me, thank you so much, is also black, I just wanted them to be in theme. So I wanted to make sure I got this one. It does have a positive and negative. I basically, once I'm all wired up, which I am not right now, this fan will not be functional even if I get the roof vent in. Once I'm all wired up, there's your positive and negative to wire to. Now I've seen somebody do this. I could unwire the light and put it on an independent switch, but I don't trust myself to do that, so I'm just going to straight up wire it the way you're supposed to, straight out the box. I think I like having a light directly over the kitchen when I'm cooking, so that could actually turn out to be really, really useful. But like I said, it's a really simple fan. It's one of their cheaper models. They do have one that's just a vent, that's designed exactly like this, except it doesn't have a fan. It's just a vent. So my other fan is pretty high end. It's the Maxxair Fan Deluxe, and it actually has a remote to it, which is going to be really cool. I won't have to worry about wiring it to any specific switches or anything. I can even just mount the remote and use that. This one's going closer to my bedroom area. I've seen a lot of videos where the main thing I've been watching is regret videos. Like, what are people's regrets that they didn't pay attention to because they were trying to rush and do a build? And one of the biggest regrets, hopefully the generator will not ruin this whole video, is one, not installing 2 fans so that they could have an exhaust and an intake, but also not putting one closer to the bedroom, usually defaulting to the kitchen first. That seems to be a high regret, so I'm trying to avoid that regret. Mind you, you can always put in a roof vent later, but while the box truck is still basically a shell, the better I can get ahead of decisions like that. While it's easier, just the generally better. However, once I cut a hole, I'm kind of committed to the roof vent living there, so hopefully I've made the right decisions and I won't think I wish I had put that further one way or the other. So I think I'm just going to commit. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I've thought about it and thought about it, and at some point you got to pull the trigger. So we're going to go ahead and do it. And so my very scary undertaking of installing a set of roof vents began. One of the first things one needs to do anything is a template. And both roof vents, almost all roof vents, have the same footprint. So I only needed 1, not 2, and I could use the same one in both spots. Since my aluminum box is pretty thin, I also needed to cut some framing just to put around the hole, just so there was a more stable sort of entry point for the roof vent. After that, I used the template that I had cut to draw out where I thought I wanted my roof vents. And the thing about the marker is I could change my mind if I didn't like it. so it gave me a good chance to take a look at it. Once I was happy with all decisions, I went ahead and set holes for each corner of the square on both vents. On the roof, I used my step-up bit to widen the holes so that my jigsaw blade could get through. Then I had to wrap my brain around the scary commitment of cutting the entire hole. There's holes in the roof, Dawn. You gotta commit now. All right. Battery. So I forgot to use the spare battery. There it is. Unfortunately, my camera died for a bit, but it was ultimately a success. So I feel amazing. I haven't tried the RV cover on the front window yet. Sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with the sliding. This is all I got right now. Right now I just run off this one little lamp a lot that plugs into the Jackery. My little window in the front, the only problem is at night it's tinted, but like most tinted windows, and I don't know how tinted it is. It was tinted out of the box. It's nothing I did. But like most windows, at nighttime, if it's lit up in here, and people can see outside. So that is just a piece of blackout curtain I had from some previous projects on my older rigs. And so I just kind of hung it up there. And it's not even attached. These are just hanging on there and holding it down and blocking the window at night. I had also been using the little piece of cardboard that we use to cut out the window to block the window, but then it just looks like cardboard from the outside, which probably looks more suspicious. But guys, honestly, I think the box truck is like super stealth because nobody expects it to be anything but a box truck. Like, they see the ladder outside, they see a giant white work truck, they just think it's a work truck. Nobody looks at it too hard. Right now, I have the roof vent is open, even though it's not wired, so it can't work, but it is open. And right here, I have my little portable Camp Chef stove, which will one day be inset into a cabinet. But for now, I just have my roasted vegetables. I have half a serving from last night still going. And then I have some vegetarian chicken patties in the oven. And then obviously on this side, I have no light. I'm going to have to redirect the light. One day I'll have actual lights in here, but right now I don't. And so there's the other roof vent. Obviously the fan part isn't in there because until I have a ceiling, I don't want to finish that off. But it's framed out and attached to the roof and sealed up. And this one, same thing. There's framing around it. It's attached to the roof. It's sealed up. And the inside will be made pretty when I am ready to do like roof stuff and all that. Less than a week later, I grabbed up all of my Lowe's gift cards I had received from you awesome people out there, and I proceeded to get plywood to do my subfloor. I have a 12 by 8 box. Did I get that right? Yeah, that's totally right. But the inside is more like 7.8 by like 12.5. It gets kind of weird around that doorway that enters into the cab. So about 3 sheets should have done me perfect. But I didn't want to just take the top 3 sheets, so I actually spent some time looking at the plywood and at least trying to get a decent start on the floor, even though it was a subfloor and I knew I was going to put vinyl siding on top. The next day, I went back to the storage unit and proceeded to do one of the hardest things ever because I needed to unload the entire box truck of all the things we've been living with before I could actually do the subfloor because, duh. Now my box has this really uncomfortable wood floor. There's not a metal floor, there's just this wood floor. It was splintery, it was not fun to walk on, and there were gaps. So I definitely was always going to put something on top of it. And I decided to put some thin underlayment and then cover that with plywood, and then my final floor would be a vinyl floor. As the box is almost like 7.5 inches tall, and I'm only 5'4", it'll be fine. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to take care of, and that was that ugly back wall. So these were peel and stick tiles, and unfortunately I lost all the footage of me arranging them, which was a little bit more difficult than I thought. But on top of that, I kind of miscalculated and I didn't buy enough tiles, so I knew I would have to go back and do it. On top of that, I lost more of the day doing this than I intended to, but I have to say, now that the whole wall is complete, I'm pretty happy with it, especially since this wall will be under my bed. So no one's going to look that closely at my little peel and stick tiles. Now it's time to get to the floor, so I began laying out the underlayment and gluing it to the wooden floor. The first 2 plywood sheets were pretty easy, as I only had to take off about 5 inches. So with the last piece, I honestly rushed myself and my measurements were off. This was supposed to fit perfectly around the door and it didn't. But overall, I thought it turned out pretty great. I knew I would have to fix that last piece, but for the moment, I was done. I even test fitted a 2x4 right where I want to put in my inner wall. Despite everything, I'm pretty proud of where the box truck is. I have a subfloor down. Hi, Mickey. Come here, buddy. Say hi. Say hi. He's like, no. What are you doing? Say hi, Mickey. No, don't rub the phone. But we're doing good. We're proceeding piece by piece, bit by bit. He wants some attention right now. He's like, put down the phone and pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Every little step makes me feel closer to building my dream home. I'm exhausted right now, but it's like the right kind of exhausted. So there are moments in building out your vehicle that, you feel like nothing's getting done. Like you're just sitting in the same space and you're doing stuff like every day, all the time, running around, doing fixes, running errands, shopping, running to Home Depot 30 times. But you look at the space and you don't really see it because it's all these minor little things like fixes. Like I need to buy some more seam tape and clean up some of these seams. And yeah, there's a couple of little things I still need to do insulation wise, but the big job is done. So I'm sure I'll fall into that feeling again. But then you do big things like the roof vents, like the insulation, and you're like, whoa, this vehicle actually is changing. Like I am turning it into something new. And that's what build outs are about. Taking something that didn't look like it could be what it was and turning it into that. And so when I finished installing my roof vents, that was in my subfloor even, and doing the tile wall on the back of the box truck, this wall right here, like those moments felt like I did something, that I accomplished something, that I was really bringing on that change. And so it feels really good when you accomplish things like that. And when I got done my roof vents and I saw the solar sitting there and the 2 roof vents and all of that, and knowing that I had done it, it felt good. All right, I'll catch you in the next video. I'm not sure what happens next sequentially. The insulation video is still a couple videos away, but I'll catch up with you soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye. And now it is time for the business portion of our video. And that's the one where I tell you there's a section underneath this video where you can like, and you can comment, and you can subscribe. You can also dislike if you want to, but if you did like it, you can hit that bell beside the subscribe button, and I hear tell that might notify you when I post new videos. But I also hear sometimes YouTube screws that up. But if you do subscribe and you do hit the bell, you're more likely to see future updates on this box truck project, if you're interested. If you're like, man, this thing looks like a disaster waiting to happen, actually, that might make you subscribe. But if you're just like, man, this girl's boring, I'm not interested, you don't have to subscribe. There we go. So now I've taken care of business, I want to send out a special thanks to Patreon and YouTube memberships. So much of what I'm able to do is because of you guys, but that does not disqualify people who just watch the videos. The most important thing that a YouTube channel needs is views. I would say even more than subscribers, like people who want to watch your videos and keep up with your videos and watch your videos for free are important. And sitting through a few ads help, but honestly, if it's like a 5-minute ad and it's annoying, I won't get mad at you if you skip it. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I think I've checked all the YouTube boxes now, and I'm ready for bed.